Hey, Transformers 96 here with another video where I'm going to be showing you guys some new figures shown from Mafex. I might be saying that name wrong, it's M-A-F-E-X, but I don't have any products from them, but they have been showing some things recently that have been really catching my eye, and I think that probably some of these things will be the first ones that I purchased from them that I'm about to show you. So yeah, they did show some new Star Wars stuff. Recently they did put on pre-order some Batman vs. Superman stuff that look quite impressive. I don't think I'm going to get any of them though. I might get Wonder Woman. I'm still slightly considering her, but I think that I probably won't. However, the Star Wars things, I do think that I will get a few of these. I'm still thinking about it, but I think that there's a very good chance. They showed a few Star Wars figures, all from The Force Awakens, and all looking quite impressive for different reasons. So let's talk about them. They have gone on pre-order, and quite excited. So first of all, you have a 2-pack with BB8 and C3PO. C3PO is the Force Awakens version. As you can see, BB8 looking quite nice. Looks like he's weathered quite well. Nothing too spectacular to talk about just because he's kind of the same old, same old. One thing that he comes with which is excellent is the thumbs up lighter. Obviously, one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I think it's safe to say the funniest scene in the movie. I saw Star Wars 13 times in the theater, and the thumbs up lighter joke was the one that absolutely every single time I saw it in the theater got laughs and got the most laughs. That was by far, I would say, the funniest part of the movie. Every showing that I went to, just the crowd erupted as soon as that happened, every single time. So definitely really fun that he comes with that accessory, and that's very cool. Looks like, you can roll him around. He will be weighted, so you can, every BB-8 figure is weighted. If it wasn't, he'd just be falling over. So looking quite nice. Nothing too much to talk about there, though. C3PO looks very good. I love the shiny paint. I think it looks excellent. Very metallic. But then you get down to the red arm, which is just like a flat red. Looking quite nice. I'm not quite sure what the articulation is like on this. Obviously, C3PO doesn't need a whole lot, so I doubt that there will be much articulation, but he does look quite good, and looks like a nice set. This set is the most expensive. It comes out to about $85 for these two figures, which I think is quite expensive because, C3PO is the regular figure, you can call him, although he's probably going to have less articulation. And then BB-8 is more of an accessory, not quite so much of figures, but they're charging quite a lot. So this is one set that I'm not going to get from them, but it does look quite nice. Now, to talk about the much more interesting stuff, in my opinion, is Captain Phasma and Kylo Ren. Starting with Captain Phasma, looks excellent. Now, when you compare it to Figure Arts, which is the other company that makes a figure in this scale that just came out quite recently, and there's also Black Series, but Figure Arts and Mafex have better articulation. They're higher quality than Hasbro's products, so just comparing those two, I do have the Figure Arts one, and I do think I'm going to get this one. The main differences between these two is that they're basically in the same scale. There'll be a slight height difference between them, but it won't be anything massive. However, this Captain Phasma figure comes with a cloth cape, which is extremely exciting. Something that, I think that a lot of people like. A lot of people like cloth. Obviously helps with articulation, poses, and you can do some cool things with it, getting to flow in the wind and things like that. So this is very exciting. The only other figure that has a cloth cape is the Hot Toys one. I don't think that there's a single other mainstream Captain Phasma figure that has a cloth cape. I have most of the Captain Phasma figures, so there isn't one that has a cloth cape. So this is very exciting and very unique, as well as it does look like she does have chrome armor. It doesn't look like it's just a matte silver. It doesn't look like it's a metallic silver. It does look like it's actually chrome, which is, of course, accurate to the movie and something that's extremely exciting as well. Articulation-wise, because I don't have Mafex figure, I can't tell you with certainty what their articulation is, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, their articulation is similar. I think that the Figure Arts one, though, will have slightly better articulation, especially in the torso. I don't know, it doesn't look like there's a ton of articulation in the torso, however, it could be quite hidden, and the Figure Arts one has a lot of articulation in the torso. Looks like the elbow has the same double hinge, looks like the same type of wrist, knees, thighs, although the Figure Arts one did have these pouches that move out of the way. I'm not quite sure if this one will have that, as well as it had the shoulder pad which moved out of the way. I'm not quite sure if this one will have it though. So I believe that the main differences are going to be this one will have slightly less articulation, but it will be full chrome and have a cloth cape. This one is going to be more expensive though, however. But you know, you might not be able to get the Figure Arts one for the original price anyway, so it might come out to be about the same. Some more images. As you can see, she will come with multiple changeable hands. You've got a relaxed palm, hand for holding the gun, fist here. I would assume that she'll come with sets of those to have them on each side. You can see the cloth cape in better detail from the back. Looks like it drapes quite well. This is a production image though, so of course, you know, maybe when you get it in hand, it won't drape so naturally. We'll have to see. I'm loving the detail on this helmet. It looks great because it looks like it's chrome, but with, you know, damage on it, which just looks excellent. You can even see like a fingerprint here, so that kind of shows you just how shiny this thing is. So I am pretty impressed with how it looks. And as you can see, she will, of course, have the good enough articulation to hold a gun extremely naturally in two hands. And there's a closer image of the gun. So an excellent figure. I think that this looks excellent. It looks like it has enough differences from the Figure Arts to be, you know, warrant a purchase even if you have the Figure Arts one. This one kind of looks like a cross between the Figure Arts because it's in that same scale and it has just about the same articulation, and the Hot Toys because it has the chrome paint job and a cloth cape. So it does look like it's kind of the best of both worlds, which is exciting, and I am quite interested in this one. Looks like this one's going to be about $60, which is expensive, especially when Kylo Ren is quite a bit less. Moving over to Kylo Ren, this is, you know, of course we have many Kylo Ren figures. This one does look unique in its own way as well. I'm pretty impressed with how Mafex is making the same characters in a very similar scale with the similar articulation, similar level of detail, but making them different from their competitors. So I do applaud them for that. As you can see, he does have a cloth cape similar to Hot Toys. The cloth, I would imagine, is higher quality. Hanes probably a lot better, and it does look quite good. I think that the hood looks a bit big, however it looks like it hangs quite well, and looks like a nice figure in general. The lightsaber is very active. There's a lot going on there. I think that it may be a bit overdone how jagged it is, but I think that it does look quite nice. Even if it is overdone, at least it's different from what we usually get, so that is just, you know, in its own right, nice. Moving over, here's a better image of that lightsaber. It's quite, you know, jaggedy throughout, so I do think that they've gone a bit overboard on that, but it does still look nice. As you can see, you get a nice demonstration of the ankle articulation. Looks like it has a nice pivot there. Looks like articulation is good in general. Looks like this lays pretty nicely, and looking quite good. Now this is the big main difference from any other Kylo Ren that there is that you get an Adam Driver head sculpt. And this head sculpt looks very good. I think that it absolutely does represent Adam Driver in such a small scale. I think that they've done it extremely well. And this is something that really no other company has done. We have the 3 3/4 inch one that did it. Obviously it looks terrible because it's 3 3/4 inch, no articulation, no, made mainly for kids. Then they did the Elite Series did it. Of course the Elite Series isn't great with head sculpts or anything, so although it was nice to get an unmasked one, it doesn't look fantastic. This, however, looks really nice, and not even Hot Toys does it, so this is probably the best representation of Adam Driver's head sculpt that we've seen. However, I have heard that their production images look a bit better than the final product, so because of that I am slightly worried about what the final product is going to look like. However, even, you know, if it's slightly less, it's still going to be the best Adam Driver head sculpt we have, so that's, you know, still very impressive. And considering he doesn't wear the helmet for a great deal of the movie and for his important scenes, I think that it's absolutely necessary that Kylo Ren figures come with an unmasked head sculpt, which they just really don't, aside from this guy basically. So very excited for that, and with the helmet on, does look quite good. He will come with, again, another new accessory that is a really big accessory that a lot of companies should use, but they don't, which is the melted battle damage Darth Vader helmet. I think that's great. It's going to look good for posing, you know, to have him talking with the helmet. I think that it just looks awesome, and it's another accessories that Hot Toys should have come with, you know, and some other companies absolutely should have come with this, but they just don't. So I am quite impressed. Looking quite good. Here he is, full body with the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks maybe a smidge small, but that's very that's a, you know, it's not that bad. It's something that I'm slightly noticing. However, I don't think that it looks that bad. I think that it's pretty good in scale. The hood, it doesn't look like it lays back very well, I have to say. It looks a bit clunky laying back. As you can see, you know, the hood looks too big. It lays really nice, it just looks too big. But maybe that will be able to fix it if you pull it down a bit underneath this scarf collar thing here. So you will probably be able to fix it a bit. Kylo Ren's on pre-order on Me. If I do order it, this will be where I'd order it from. Unfortunately, the release date on these are extremely far away. November, for Kylo Ren, which is quite far. Even Hot Toys, you know, when they put something on pre-order about now, typically it's coming out between August and October. So, you know, for November for this guy is quite a long time from now, which is a shame. And by then, everybody's going to be into Rogue One. So it's like, you know, I've got a million Kylo Rens. Do I really need one in November when I'm focusing on the new Star Wars characters? I'm not quite sure. That's one reason I haven't pre-ordered these guys yet, because although right now I would absolutely buy them, I don't know, maybe in a few months, you know, I have ones in similar scales and I'll just find them unnecessary. So because of that, I am waiting to pre-order them, but I do think that I will get them. So Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren's like 50. And so, for some reason, Phasma is $10 more, which I really don't understand. It doesn't look like she comes with anything, you know, spectacularly more than him. It looks like they come with about the same amount of stuff. You get more head sculpts with Kylo Ren. The only thing I can think of is possibly the chrome paint. They're charging more for that. I'm not quite sure, though, but I do think that their price increase on Phasma is unwarranted, from what I've seen. I think that they should both be 50 and not 150, 160. And then Phasma comes out even longer than him. She comes out in late December. I mean, this will probably get in our hands probably very early 2017, which is definitely such a shame that we have to wait so long. And again, I have other very similar Captain Phasmas, so possibly by then I won't feel the need for this one, so which is why I've waited. But at the moment, I think that I'm going to get Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma. I'm very impressed with this company for being able to make figures that are extremely similar to other figures, but that they make them right, basically. They're giving us things that the other figures have not given us that are pretty necessary. For the case of Captain Phasma, it's the chrome paint and the cloth cape, and for the case of Kylo Ren, it's the Adam Driver head sculpt and the damaged Darth Vader helmet. So, very impressed that they are able to separate themselves from their competition in such a good way. So, very excited for these. I do think that I will get them, but I am undecided at the moment. Let me know what you guys think of these, and thanks so much for watching.